Hey family, welcome to How Love Works, where we talk about the principles for lasting love. Well, as I promised, I want to continue our discussion along the two different poles of commitment and submitment, or submission, if you will. I talked last about why men won't commit, and I gave you 4 reasons why men typically won't commit in their relationships. Even if they're not aware, these are the 4 primary reasons men typically will not submit in a relationship. Now, obviously, as I did not allude to when we discussed the issue of commitment before, there are not a lot of other reasons why men won't commit. I guess one of the biggest ones is just immaturity on the part of the man. He's not really mature enough for a commitment. It doesn't matter about his age. This is not an issue of numbers. You know, he's 35, 40, 50 years old. Most men who are not willing to commit to a lifetime partnership for whatever the reasons are, sometimes it has to do with just their lack of emotional maturity. That's a big one right there. And you could even say that could be number 5. But I think most of the reason why most men won't commit is, as I mentioned before, those 4 areas. And again, it's not because women are doing things deliberately. They're not. These are just things that men and women have learned how to do in their relationships. So right now, I want to talk about the area of submission. Why is it that women will not submit? Why is it that women will not submit? Well, there's only 3 reasons, of course, in my mind. There are a number of other reasons. I could also allude to the fact that there could be some baggage issues that a lot of women have had to deal with in their past. And so because of that, they will not submit. Obviously, because of the modern day philosophy of feminism, they will not submit. Because of the relationships they've had with their mother and what they've noticed in their mother's relationships, and they've seen some negative things. They've said, there's no way I could ever submit in a relationship because look at what happened to my mother, look at what happened to my aunt, look what happened to my grandmother, look what happened to my sisters. And all of those are valid reasons, but it's also primarily because of the 3 reasons that I'm going to elucidate to you today. What I want to do now, though, is I want to read a poem to you. And this poem has to do primarily with how I see women in general, and especially black women. I said last time that women have a tremendous power that most black women aren't really aware of. They don't know how to use it because it has been lying dormant within their unused femininity. It is a power that derives its power from a woman's femininity, her vulnerability, her receptivity, and her authenticity. And a lot of women, because they are so masculinized now, they do not know how to wield the power of influence. They just don't know how to do it. And so they take the power, or they try to take the power many times. They emasculate in order to try to get whatever it is they are seeking in their personal relationships. And they just can't seem to be able to navigate their relationships for the well-being of that relationship. So let me go on and read what I call the power of a woman. The power of a woman. Women have strengths that amaze men. They bear hardships and they carry burdens, but they hold happiness, love, and joy. They smile when they want to scream. They sing when they want to cry. They cry when they are happy. They laugh when they are nervous. They fight for what they believe in. They stand for injustice. They don't take no for an answer. When they believe there is a better solution, they go without so their family can have. They love unconditionally. They go to the doctor with a frightened friend. They cry when their children excel and cheer when their friends get awards. They are happy when they hear about the birth of a wedding. They grieve at the loss of a family member, yet they are strong when they think there is no strength left. They know that a hug and a kiss can heal a broken heart. Women come in all shapes and sizes and colors. They'll thrive, they fly, they walk, they run, or email. They show how much they care about you. They bring joy and love. They have the compassion and great ideas. They give moral support. They provide what their family and friends need. Women have vital things to say and everything to give. That's a power of a woman. So ladies, I led off with that understanding that I understand that women bring a tremendous amount of power to all their relationships. They bring a lot of empowerment if they're willing to use it. So I want you to understand as we talk about this area of submission, it's not about inferiority. It's not about a woman's lack. It's about her power. It's about her influence and how she uses it for the benefit of all. Number one, why women will not submit. Well, the biggest reason women will not submit is because they have the wrong idea about submission. They think, as I said earlier, that submission is about inferiority. And that's so much further from the truth. It's not about inferiority at all. The reality is because of the power of a woman's influence and her unique giftings that she brings to the relationship, her submission is able to bring to that relationship the crucial, meet the crucial needs of that relationship by using the power of submission. It brings to bear on that relationship all of her giftings for the sake of the relationship, not just for her. Today, a lot of women have a lot of power and they use their power selfishly, just for them. Not even for their children, just for them. And then they wonder why their relationships end up in the ditch. They wonder why their relationships go nowhere. Because they are not allowing that tremendous power. I hope this is starting to make some sense to you. That power needs to be used responsibly, so it needs to submit to something. You're going to find out later it's not what you think. That's number one. They have the wrong idea about submission. That's the reason why women won't commit. Number two, they don't know what submission really means. They don't know what submission really means. Let me tell you, simple. Submission is simply the willingness to cooperate for the sake of the relationship, the vision, and the mission of the partnership. That's what submission is about. That's both parties. It's not one way or the other where you're necessarily submitting for the sake of the man's ego, which is what most women think. It's not about his ego. It's about the requirements of the relationship. It's about the vision and the mission of that partnership. That's what submission is about. You can't have the man or the woman, for that matter, going in two different directions and thinking that the vision and the mission of that relationship is ever going to be executed properly if there is not this principle of submission involved. Submission basically means this. It's voluntary on the part, in this case, of the woman. She voluntarily puts her individual mission, her individual goals, if you will. She puts them slightly below the collective vision and mission of that relationship. It's a mutually shared vision based upon the core values of the individuals in that relationship. Did you understand what I just said? Based upon the core values of the individuals in that relationship. Core values are significant, ladies, because they are the foundations that the submission is built upon. See, you ladies have been led to believe that everything is based upon the man. No. It's about the core values. So that's why it's very important for you ladies, when you're dealing with men in your lives, you need to know what his core values are. And you need to be in alignment with those core values. Now understand, I'm not saying you need to fall under his core values. I mean, your core values need to be shared. In other words, these core values you believe yourself. Then you both, and especially you in this particular dynamic, you have shared values that you are willing to submit to for the benefit of the relationship as a whole. Now, wouldn't that be easier if both of you had shared core values? Understanding how commitment and submitment works. Now it's a lot easier for that man to commit to this relationship, and certainly a lot easier for you to submit in this relationship, because you have the same core values. But does it ever come up when women date men? No. Does it ever come up when a man dates a woman? No. What comes up? Sex. That's the most important thing. Feelings again. Subjective feelings. That's all we talk about. All right. That's number 2. And the last one. I already alluded to it. You don't share core values. Core values, as I said, they're the foundation upon submission, or they're the foundation upon what the submission is built upon. They're the foundation. So here are some of the things that, or some of the areas that a lot of women communicate with other women that are big deals when it comes to why they will not submit. I gave you the primary 3. Now here are the real fears, the underlying fears. I gave you the objective truths that govern a lot of women's decisions about submission based upon their understanding or their lack thereof of submission. Now we're going to talk about the last area, and that's fears. One of the reasons women have a very difficult time with submission in their personal relationships to their husband, not a boyfriend. A woman is not required to submit to a boyfriend. Okay, it's a lack of consistency. That's number 1. Women need consistency. They need certainty in the relationship, because it helps to provide the integrity for the relationship. It gives them a sense of security. Just like the second fear that women have when it comes to this issue of submission. It's about a lack of dependency. This is another fear. Women have been in a number of relationships that have failed. And so there is a lack of dependency that keeps them from being willing to submit to, let's say, their husband in this case, because of the history of the lack of dependency that they've experienced. And the last one would be a lack of humility. They have been in relationships with men who have expressed, not only in word, but as well as in deed, their lack of empathy for those in their sphere of influence, their responsibility, their wives, their children. They have not walked or see themselves in the light of the other individuals. They're not walking in their shoes. They're showing no humility at all. And when they show no humility, it's very difficult to submit to something like that or someone like that. So these are very real fears that women have. Understood. Nobody's saying, hey, you're crazy. You should be doing this because this is what is expected of you. No, we understand the real fears that's tied to this issue. But I want you to understand that in order for a relationship to work well, there has to be an area of commitment on the part of a man, which is very difficult for men. And there has to be an issue of submission on the part of a woman, which is very difficult for a woman. It is a very tenuous equation. Commitment on the one hand, submission on the other. Very difficult. But it is required for a relationship to blossom, to reach the missions and the goals and the vision of that relationship, for the wellness of the individuals within that relationship. If a man and a woman is willing to operate from those two polar issues, I think the relationship will benefit for everyone involved. Why won't women submit? They have the wrong ideas about submission. Why won't women submit? Because they don't really understand what submission really means. And why won't women submit? Is because they don't share the same core values. And they're afraid of the lack of consistency, dependency, and humility. But in order for a relationship to grow, there needs to be commitment from the man's side and submission from the woman's side. That's my time. I thank you for yours. See you on the other side. God bless you.